Armada Book 7 Chapter 7, The Return Part 1. Roger walked and sat on the captain's chair. He looked around the bridge and he saw Ellie, Rabina, Kirk, Billy and Reek. Olive, are we all ready to go? Roger asked. Yes, we will fly for 2 weeks towards the human planets, then open a DG near where your Ellie could have gone. Roger, any dramatic words before we start moving? Millions are watching us on TV downside. Kirk said. To infinite dimensions and beyond. Hi Mom, I'll be back soon. I love you. Ellie exclaimed and waved to the floating drone. Roger and the group laughed. Harold and Albert appeared as a holo. Bon voyage, commanders. We will wait for your triumphant return. Harold said. Albert seconded, good luck, commanders. I know the journey may take time, but I believe you will succeed and come back home. We will pray for your safe return. Roger that, Harold, Albert. Billy said. Roger looked at him. You are not supposed to use my name in vain. Sorry, buddy. Anyway, thank you, Harold, Albert, for all your support. Roger was supposed to say something when, we will see you all when we get back. Rabina said, beating him to the draw. Suddenly Roger did not feel like saying anything. Olive, let's go. The next day at the mess hall, Sarah and Amos were having coffee. Sarah was the White House master chef and she met Amos when he was wounded in assaulting the alien ships. The president ordered her to help Amos feed the commanders in the ship. She decided to join the group since she realized Amos was alone in his work and she did not like his cooking. She figured Amos needed some training. Roger and Billy walked in. Good morning, Amos, Sarah. Billy greeted them. Let me get your cocoa, Billy. Amos said. Nonsense, Amos. Let me get it myself. Sarah, how do you find the ship? It's very advanced and the storage is huge. The kitchen is out of this world, literally, and not really designed to cook anything. I replaced Amos' small kitchen stove with industrial-type electric ovens and stoves. The president insisted that I take all the White House provisions, half of the wines and brandy, all of their meats and canned goods. And I was not able to fill it up. Then Meadows took me to your warehouse. You have more stocks than the White House does. General Tim and General Rick also insisted on giving us their stocks. I mean, you do understand the risks involved. Billy said. Food does not always turn out the way you intended to cook it. There is always a risk. I enjoy the risky. And besides, how will our heroes eat? Amos cannot just cook for you, he's only one guy and there are hundreds of you. Amos smiled. Thank you for your support, Sarah. Somehow Sarah said it in a slightly different way, he thought. Amos, how long will our food stocks last? Roger asked. A mug of coffee appeared in front of Roger. Roughly 2 years. There are more of us now. There are only 300 of us, 10 times our number when we started. Roger said. Sarah brought 4 assistants to help in the kitchen. And they're all very good. I feel like I'm the rookie among masters. I am now working more on growing enough greens for our people. Ellie and Rabina walked in. Then Linda and Fanny walked in. As Linda sat, a cup of chocolate ice cream appeared. Thank you, Olive. Ice cream in the morning? Ellie asked, looking at Linda. A cup of milk appeared before Fanny. Then a teapot appeared before Ellie. Then a large coffee mug appeared in front of Rabina. Olive, why do these women get their favorite in the morning and I had to get my own coffee? Billy asked. Olive replayed Billy telling Amos, nonsense, Amos. Let me get it myself. You just have to ask, Billy, but you told Amos that you will get it yourself. Olive said. Everybody laughed at Billy. Their laugh was cut short as Captain Jenny Jones walked in with 2 scientists named Dr. Gabby Towns and Dr. Gina Davis. Good morning, sir. We have finalized the uniforms. Jenny said. Captain, please sit. Roger said. I read your files, Jenny, and you used to have your own fashion company before the invasion and your father was a general in the army. How's your right leg? I saw the burn was very long. Billy said. My leg is okay, sir, thank you for your concern. The burn was superficial. And thank you for caring to look at my files. Olive, please show the uniforms. 4 sets of uniforms appeared. We all have an undergarment, this first one here, which is really made from nanos pieced together by Olive to form and fit the wearer. The outside is gray but inside it's white, has a retractable hood and feet socks. Once Olive programs the armor, the form is set and it can be removed by detaching the back, here. The body armor protects us from a grenade blast 2 feet away. Nothing that we have can penetrate the armor. Then we also had Olive program nanos to form these outer uniforms. There are 3 models. 1 gray, 1 blue, and 1 green. All the uniforms have accents on the shoulder, arms, and legs. The blue uniform, for example, has dark green accents while the dark green uniform has blue accents. The gray has orange accents but different from the blue accents. Olive programmed the shape and designs, then these are worn over the body armor and takes the body measurements from the armor. Once set, the uniform is unique to the wearer. Again, the uniform is bulletproof, temperature-controlled, and self-cleaning. It can also be reprogrammed to appear with a shield, appear as a blanket or a bed or a boat. Olive has 30 programmed shapes. I like them. The colors and color combinations really look so mean and badass. And the name patches are obvious. Ellie said. The ranks are simple reprogramming on the right lapel if we ever decide to have ranks. The weapons are attached to the side, or front, or back. Gabby said. Olive showed a person with weapons. Gabby continued, the uniform has a built-in tagger on the right hand and the communications device is pulled from the shoulders to the ears if needed. Otherwise, the headgear has the earpiece. Is it real this time? Roger asked. Now it's real. We made them ourselves. Ellie said. So how did you do all this in the 2 weeks we were on Earth? Amos asked. Rabina answered him, Look Amos, we do not ask you how you do your cooking because we would have a hard time understanding how you do it. Same reason we cannot tell you. Amos smiled. Ellie cared to answer, Olive made the nanos from the uniforms of the Maccabees. The Maccabees are very advanced in nanotechnology. Looks fine to me. When do we get them? Billy asked. Sir, tomorrow. You will find them in your quarters. Jenny answered. Colonel Solis and 2 women walked in. Roger, Billy, guys, this is Major Jenny Phillips and Captain Tiffany Hyru from the Air Force. They will head our drone pilot groups. Jenny will head the first group while Tiffany will head the second group. Solis said. Right now, we only have 160 drones and we intend to increase their firepower. They would be heavier and I think you should compensate for this future challenge. We also intend to increase the firepower of the 120 small attack ships Olive has. Make sure you are very familiar in flying these small ships. Fanny said. We call them sabers. Roger said and they nodded. After 2 weeks, at the bridge. Are you all excited to go through the DG? Roger asked. What if the DG does not work? Kirk asked. It works. We did try to open a window several times and we believe it's safe. We sent drones and they came back okay. Ellie answered. Rabina added, the only issue is that we may not get into the dimension we intended to go because of our crude modifications. So we could all get lost in another dimension? Reek countered. Billy quipped, I like Lost. Fanny sighed, we can always come back. Ellie exclaimed, look, we discussed this to death and we don't have much choice. We are already so far from Earth. We have to get Armada help and return here ahead of the invasion. It is absolutely risky and could be a really ugly way to go, but someone has to do this. I like risky. Billy quipped again. We are ready to open our DG Roger. Ellie said with finality. Olive, are we cloaked? Roger asked. Yes, Roger. Please open a DG for Ellie's address. A DG is opening. We can fly in 5 minutes. Sending our drones now. The drones found a gas planet. Do you want to fly in now, Roger? Olive asked. Roger answered, proceed. After a few minutes, Olive started to move. We are on the other side, Roger. Moving to a gas planet. A loud cheer came from the bridge. An hour later, as they approached the target gas planet, Olive announced, 500 ships are moving from 1 o'clock towards our left. Maccabee ships running at full speed. All cloaked. Moving into the gas planet now. Olive said. The holograms show the 500 ships are in normal tube formation with 10 very large ships at the center. Olive added, we are in the gas planet and the Maccabee ships did not seem to have seen us. Billy and Rabina appeared. Linda and Kirk beams in, then Dr. Reek and Jack beams in. Did they scan us, Olive? Ellie asked. No scan, Ellie. Are their shields up, Olive? Roger asked. No, their shield are all down. They are moving at full speed. None of the ships are slowing down. Billy sighed, it's going to be very hard to fight 500 ships. Linda inquired, Maccabees do not eat humans, right? No, they are primarily vegetarians. Ellie answered nonchalantly. We are not going to get captured, Linda. We will die first. Roger, do we ready our people? Kirk asked. No, not yet. I don't think we are this lucky. Roger said. I agree. We just got into this dimension, our first dimension. We don't even know exactly what dimension we are in. Ellie said. Rabina sighed, so we got lost and we got killed. It's not really very nice not to know where you died. Billy exclaimed, stop this nonsense. For all you know they have not seen us and we can just sit tight for a few days and then go on and explore this universe. After a few minutes, we better have our quick draw option ready. Olive, tell the bombers to prepare. Tell Riker to prepare his men for possible boarding. Tell Solis, Jack, and Mitos to prepare to assault the main ships, Billy said. Roger commented, out of the boiling water and into the fire. Stop that. Ellie shouted. The group laughed. Ellie distributed some multiple grenade launchers and grenade belts that Olive earlier sent to the bridge. Rabina took the task of distributing the heavy weapons. They all started to check their weapons and making sure they had a full clip. They watched the holos for more than an hour. They could see their people in full battle gear waiting at their positions. They could see the suicide bombers in combat gear dispersed widely in the ship waiting, holding their thermos. This went on for about an hour more, then. The Maccabee ships seemed to be losing their people. They are beaming out of their ships, Olive said. Roger stood sharply, or being beamed out. Olive, look for other ships. Microscan around us. I do not see anything. A detailed scan around the ships show nothing. The Maccabees are now deploying their sabers and small attack ships. Olive answered. Then they could see the sabers stop and loose their pilots. I think an armada is in the area. We just cannot see them. Billy said. The Maccabee ships will be empty in 30 minutes. Olive said. Olive, beam our drones inside the bridge with Maccabees inside. Roger said. The drone images came on in less than a minute. They could see the Maccabees searching for the enemy but could not find them. Then without warning, several at a time, the Maccabees disappeared. The bridge was empty in less than a minute. Then the holo showed a hangar bay with a lot of Maccabee pilots inside their sabers ready to be beamed outside. They too disappeared. I feel something. Fanny said quietly. Olive announced, all the Maccabee ships are now empty. Suddenly a third of the small ships and half of the large ships disappeared. The Armada must have a different cloaking technology that we cannot sense. Ellie observed. I agree. Billy said. Olive, scan the area using combination frequencies. Those combinations that nothing can survive in. Rabina said. The holos show a faint shape of ships, more than 800 very large ships, 20 times the size of Olive, parked 30 mly away beyond the Maccabee ships. I have locked into the clearest image and locked the frequency combination that rotates every 3 milliseconds. The image cannot get any clearer. Did they see us? Linda asked. Fanny answered. I felt a yes. I felt something is getting into my head. Ellie looked at her. We are all being mind-read. I'm hungry. Come on guys, let's all go and get something to eat. Ellie said. While being mind-read? Roger asked. Makes sense to me. Come on guys. Billy said. The mess hall was packed. I don't think this is a very good idea, Ellie. There is no place to sit. Rabina said. Olive, beam us to the mess hall of the main Maccabee ship. Tell Amos to beam our food there. Ellie said. They found themselves in the mess hall of the lead Maccabee ship. They sat themselves on a long table at the center of the mess hall. Olive beamed some brandy and wine. Then ice cream for Linda and Jack. Olive appeared. This ship is empty. How big is this ship, Olive? Ellie asked. Roughly 4 times my size. It flies twice my speed and the data system is a lot more advanced than mine. Do you like me to take over the ship, Roger? Sure. Tell our men we would be moving residences. Then, as if on cue, holos of 4 different aliens appeared 10 feet away at the main opening of the mess hall. All were wearing gray uniforms. Greetings, my name is Skamanak, I'm a Talonot, this is Commander Segum, a human, Commander Ben, a Norset, Commander Bursme, a Maccabee. Do you know who we are? Ellie asked without looking at the group. Roger and Billy looked at her. Then Rabina and Reek looked at her. Segum answered, of course my queen. You are Queen Ellie, he's General Roger, General Billy, General Linda, Dr. Fanny Lynn, Dr. Oliver Reek, Colonel Jack Reek and Dr. Rabina Perek. Skamanak added, it is our honor to meet you again, General Bourne, Queen Ellie. Fanny interrupted him, where's my double? Grey Fanny appeared. Don't tell me you felt me? Come here. Fanny approached her and held her hand. Grey Fanny embraced her and kissed her on her cheeks. Why don't you all sit down and tell us what we need to know? Ellie said, gesturing with her hand. Skamanak motioned everybody to sit. Ellie and Roger made sure they sit between and among their group. Segum started, my queen, we have been waiting for the Maccabee interlopers since yesterday and we saw you appear before they flew into the target area. Then we had to execute our plans to remove them from their ships. Billy inquired, Bursme, you're a Maccabee? Yes, sir. I am the head of the 23rd Expeditionary Fleet assigned to this area and I trained under your command. Not under you personally, but under your people. Bursme said. You read all our minds. Ellie complained. Skamanak looked at Ellie. I apologize, General Ellie, but it's SOP before we make contact. We had to be sure you are what we know you are. That's one of Andrew's rules. Roger said. Scamanak agreed, yes, it's how Andrew wants things done. Ellie argued, the ships can microscan us and know who we are up to the molecular level. You don't have to read our minds. Roger countered, Andrew will tell you, Ellie, that he just wants to be sure. That's Andrew all right. You could be an evil Roger or an evil Billy. Scamanak said. Fanny interjected, Fanny here is saying that we could all be telepathic if we want and they could transfer all the technologies they have to us. Gray Fanny added, we have ships waiting for all of you at Planet Washington. Ellie, Rabina and Fanny, you could have your special science ships while Roger, Billy, Reek can have their Armada commander ships, Andrew class. Andrew class? Don't tell me Andrew is the head of the Armada here? Roger asked. Scamanak, sir, no, it's his son Adam. Andrew and Vicky were assassinated decades ago. But we get most of our ships from the Norsets and Maquis. Your special ships are on standby just in case you arrive. How could you have known that we would arrive? Ellie asked. Seagam explained, we don't, but it is normal for the top leadership of the Armada to come flying in from some dimension. You must know you are all the top leaders of the Armada. Yes, we do. My boss was Andrew and he was killed along with his wife. Where's Ellie and Eric? Roger said. Roger, I think you come from a different dimension. Our Roger is alive and well. Queen Ellie is in a different dimension, and Eric is at the Inky capital planet. Seagam said. And so you call me Queen Ellie? Ellie asked. Seagam answered, yes, my queen. All Ellie rivers are addressed as Queen Ellie by my people. You married our King David. In fact, I know of one other Ellie who married another King David from another dimension that we went to. You got married, Ellie? Rabina looked at Ellie. Not me, Rabina, my double. Ellie answered annoyed. They all laughed. So you must know that we have a problem in our dimension. Billy said. Scamanak answered, yes, sir. And we will respond accordingly. How? Billy asked. Seagam answered, Billy, sir, the usual response would be dimension-wide. There will be several intrusions into various galaxies spanning 40 BLY. We will have Armada ships going into the Maccabee galaxies to get their emperor and install our own people. We have people who will go on into various areas to get control of those areas from the Maccabees if they are there at all. We will have people going into Earth and the human galaxies. We have 10,000 ships coming in to invade the human planets and Earth. Reek said. Scamanak looked at Reek, that would be the easy part. General Billy, as head of the Armada, you would have to take a larger view of things. We suggest we move over to Planet Washington, 3 BLY away, so we can give you your ships and show you how to do things. 3 BLY is a bit far. How long would we take to get there? Ellie asked. Seagam answered, about an hour, my queen. I will take your ship personally over to the area. Ellie looked surprised. Gray Fanny interjected, why don't you all go through Crimson so you can be telepathic and know what your doubles know? This way, we don't have to explain what you already know. She then explained things about Crimson and their abilities. Normally Roger does not want to be telepathic, although he would agree to have the implant and to get some specific knowledge on a case-by-case basis. Okay, I agree, we will all go through the Crimson. Roger, you too? Billy asked. Roger nodded, then faced Scamanak. Scamanak, if this is not my dimension, that means our DG was calibrated wrong. How do I go back now to my original dimension? It could still be dominated by the Maccabees and Adam may still be in danger. I will have our people look at your DG and get your original address right. Seagam added, I will save your Olive and reactivate her when you get your own ship, General Roger. Can I TP you all and all your people over to my ship so we can proceed to Planet Washington? I have notified the Council that we will arrive there in just over an hour. Make sure you take very good care of Olive. Roger said, and Seagam nodded. Roger and his group found themselves inside a very large reception area with views of space on half of the windows. They also saw all their people in one place. 300 holos of a very pretty woman named Taylor appeared beside each of his people. She explained to the people what Billy has decided and that they will be beamed out and will later find themselves in their quarters. Roger saw his people disappear several at a time. Then he went blank. Roger found himself lying in a bed. As he stood, he felt Taylor tell him to freshen up, then wear the body armor and outer uniform. He took a bath since he felt dirty and wore the body armor and Armada uniform. To his surprise, the outer uniform looked exactly like their gray uniform. Taylor then told Roger that the meeting at the mission room is scheduled in 40 minutes. Taylor told him he can either take a rest or go around and she will accompany him if he likes. Roger decided to rest and sleep. Taylor nudged Roger. Roger, the meeting will commence in 2 minutes. I would suggest you TP over to the mission room now. Roger stood and said, let's go. The mission room was packed with all his people. Gray Fanny and Seagam were in front. Gray Fanny started, please sit. We will be near Planet Washington in 20 minutes. So we have that much time to tell you things. Roger, please tell your people to sit. Sit down. Roger shouted. Greetings, Queen Ellie, Roger, Billy, and all of you. As you can probably surmise, you now are all telepathic, understand a lot of Armada facts and things, and feel generally good. Seagam said. I feel bad. Really, really bad. Billy started. Linda shouted at Billy, no you don't. They all laugh. Reek, did you put on some weight? No Roger, the body armor is thick and solid. Fanny I think I feel funny. Gray Fanny countered. I don't feel sick. So you don't feel sick. Fanny explained, I said funny not sick. Funny as in joking funny? Gray Fanny asked. Yes. Is this safe for people like Billy and Roger who almost always fool around? Billy and Roger would be more their normal funny selves. Gray Fanny said. So Billy and Roger are normal in fooling around? Gray Fanny answered. Yes. All the time. That's what they do. Billy and Roger laughed out loud. General Roger, we have determined your dimension and we have sent drone probes in to double-check. We will compare the timeline and data we got from Olive and compare this to this dimension to make sure we got it right. Your Armada would have to settle the issue there. Then you can proceed to Queen Ellie's dimension to deal with the enemy. We also sent drone probes in to make sure we got it right. Your DG instrumentation, while effective, created some issues for us. Seagam explained. Armada? Roger asked. Seagam answered, yes, the Council usually allocates and provides those looking for help roughly 200 Armada ships and special ships for the leaders. Since there are 3 top scientists here, you get more than 60 science ships under Queen Ellie. So your Armada will have 260 ships or so. You must then coordinate with the Armadas of the Talonauts, Maccabees, Inkies and Norsets on how to settle things in those 2 dimensions. In your case Billy, you will be the Armada commander in this group, which I assume you already know since Roger must have told you when you met him. He did with a smile and I almost punched his smiling face. Billy exclaimed. The mission hall laughed. Seagam smiled. You never lose your touch, General. Continuing, the leaders of the various alien armadas will be reporting to you before you deploy. Some are waiting for you. We have tried to look for all your doubles so you can feel them. This is usually a nice treat for first-time telepaths. Gray Fanny explained, there will be thousands of science and tech people that will be assigned to the 60 science ships. A tenth of these are old-timers and the rest are newbies. These people may be new, but it would depend on you Ellie, Fanny and Rabina to get the most out of them. These people are all good and I hope you will benefit from their work. The thoughts that I got from Crimson, are you sure they are my doubles? Rabina asked. Crimson does not make mistakes. It feels you, the total you, and has felt your double, and if you or the feelings are the same, then the double's thoughts and experiences are transferred to you. As a measure of camaraderie, some view it as a simple initiation rites. Crimson transfers a lot of the worst and most evil experiences of our Armada into you. You can feel and see these totally if you want, but Crimson also enabled you to be able to shut these feelings and experiences out so you can function. I would suggest you let these evil experiences out when you are alone. It will affect you in the most profound way, and it would depend on you how you would take these evil experiences. Normally we take these evil experiences to push us to work harder so these things do not happen again. This is partly what defines the Armada, your Armada. So Roger, the Armada is more than what we understand it to be. Rabina said. Seagam agreed and explained, it is absolutely more. It is extremely powerful, but extremely kind. It has all the technology to bring destruction on its enemies but normally choose not to and instead help them. It is also never serious in its ways except when removing absolute evil wherever it is. You are part of a very large and absolutely powerful interdimension group and you can expect the Armada to help each other in the grandest ways. For example, 6,000 of the Armada ships we use come from another dimension because they are more advanced in shipbuilding capabilities. Our people come from dozens of dimensions, so you can expect their experiences to be vastly varied. And most importantly, all Armada people enjoy themselves or at least find joy amidst the evil they will always deal with. There was a question and answer session for the next several minutes and Roger's people were surprised at how Seagam and Gray Fanny knew them personally. We are now within beaming range. The Council has prepared a welcome feast for all of you. You have 5 minutes to freshen up or rest. Gray Fanny said. Ellie could see a lot of the personnel disappear. She decided to rest and told Taylor to TP her to her quarters. Ellie decided to go to her room to see which dress is good enough to wear. She started changing her outer uniform to various dress styles. That is so you Ellie. Elaine said. Ellie quickly turned and saw her dad then her mom. She moved to embrace him. Hello Peach, her dad said. Ellie embraced her dad tight, kissing him several times on one cheek. Then she cried. "I miss you so much, Daddy. I miss you so much," she said, sobbing. Elaine moved to embrace Ellie from behind, kissing her on her cheeks from behind. They stayed like this for more than a minute. "I love you very much, Peach," her dad said. "I love you too, Daddy. I love you too, Mom." This time she turned and kissed her mom on the cheeks. Tim wiped the tears on Ellie's eyes, then kissed her on the cheeks. "Okay, no more tears, okay?" Tim said. Ellie nodded and smiled. "There is a yellow version of that dress," her mom commented. Ellie quickly turned to the yellow version and, "I like this one. This is perfect," she said. Elaine nodded. "We took the opportunity to be alone with you so we can kiss and embrace you better," Timmy said. "Thanks, Dad, Mom. So are you ready to face the world?" Elaine said and looked at Ellie's eyes to make sure the tears were gone. Ellie made sure, so she rubbed both her eyes and parts of the cheeks. The reception was at the space station near Planet Washington. The Armada Council headed by Roden were there. Several members of the Mac Council headed by Gilkin were also there. Byneton and Manpat were there. They delivered short speeches, but their sheer number took all of 2 hours for them to finish. All the time, Ellie was all smiles and sat between her mom and dad, holding their hands. After all the speeches, it was Billy's turn to speak. Billy stood. "Thank you for the speeches. They were all very short." There was a laugh coming from the speaker groups as Billy made faces. "I know, you all expect me to say something that will make you laugh. Okay, here's one. The 260 ships you told us we'll get. You will never have them back." The audience laughed. "There is also one thing you may not know about me and my doubles." He paused and looked at the audience. "We will switch ourselves without any of you knowing about it. Of course our ships would know, but the ships wouldn't care since they still have the same Billy." The audience laughed again. "So here I am pretending to be the Billy you just met, but I am actually the Billy that formed the Maccabee armies in several dimensions." Roden stood. "Billy, we don't care." The audience laughed. Billy continued, "Anyway, I just want to say thank you and more power to the Armada." He looked at Roger. Roger stood. Roger started, "We are all on a mission. All of us here is on a mission. It will be hard and it will be long. We should expect to sacrifice and endure. A universe is waiting for us. The return we pledge to our people must be fulfilled. We must all work for this end. Of course, except Billy, who is here to just clown around. He will contribute nothing to the Armada, just maybe a few laughs here and there. But the Armada people are already there to help him become the leader. So in a way he will not do much, but his people will." The mission hall was quiet, then realized the switch. Billy laughed and said, "Okay, we're even. You delivered a transcending philosophy, then unleashed an uppercut to my jaw." The audience laughed. Ellie stood. "Will you two stop clowning around?" "Roger, Billy, please sit down." The two sat still, laughing at each other while giving a high five. Ellie continued, "This is a serious gathering. Did you two even listen to the passionate and serious speeches?" She paused and pointed to Linda. "Did you listen, Linda?" Linda pretended to be unsure and just smiled. "Well, I surely did not," Ellie said. The audience laughed. "And Roden, I don't really care also." More laughs. "Okay, you all know that I know what a lot of the Ellies from different dimensions know. But what is so consistent among the different Ellies is our sense of wonder and respect for the universe. Another is our feeling that all creatures in the universe must be treated equally, with respect and given dignity and care, as we care for ourselves. The last is the Armada spirit. There is so much evil and so much death and destruction out there. I have seen our people being eaten, uncooked, by aliens. I have lost of a lot of my closest friends, some of them were killed in front of me. My dad was killed in front of me. He was all the world to me. I have been through hell, where despair and hopelessness feeds us every day. Now you gave us the light that we will shine our worlds with." Gilkin stood and walked slowly towards Ellie. "No, Ellie, you and Billy and Roger and all your people with you are the light that shine in our worlds. We have given you nothing that is more important than what you already have." Ellie smiled and embraced Gilkin. The audience clapped their hands. "Well said, old man." Ellie kissed him on the cheeks. Gilkin smiled. Ellie looked at Rabina and sat. Rabina stood. "You all know me. And if you know me, I will tell you what you predicted I will say." She stopped and looked at the audience, from left to right. "Let's just eat." The audience laughed. Fanny sighed, "I thought this will never end." Gray Fanny agreed, "I actually predicted Rabina will cut the bowl so we can eat." The two Fannies laughed. Roden approached Billy and said, "I actually think that you have a very good idea back there. You want to switch with another Roden? Makes for good drama." "Good, I am glad to change the future of your species, Roden." They both laugh. Byneton and Manpat walked to Billy. "Hi guys. Billy greeted them. Greetings, General Billy. I hope you are enjoying the food. Look, Bynaton, you don't have to be formal with me. Just call me Billy. It's not like I don't know about the ass-kissing. Manpat added, I'm ahead by 3. Bynaton countered, I'm ahead by 1. The 4 laughed. So do you also want to switch with your double from another dimension? Yes, in fact if I do that I can even fix the problem by myself. Makes good sense to me. Then after the war, I would go to another, then another. Manpat agreed. The tricky part would be how to lure the Manpats to kiss your ass. Roden commented. Roger overheard them and, I thought as leaders of your species, you should be very busy and would not find the time to do these things. That's the whole point, the Manpat I will switch into would do my work and I would fix his problem. And I know he would definitely hate my work. But his problem would be an easy cake for me. Bynaton added, same here. But the tricky part is how to make them kiss your ass. Well, my dimension is ripe for the picking. Billy said. But we would have to work on my dimension first. Adam's life might be in danger. Roger said. Simultaman walked by and saw Ellie. Ellie, good to see you, that you are okay. Ellie was beside Tim and Simultaman, yes, don't tell me I'm going to marry David. Simultaman explained, I wanted to tell you that you look pretty in your yellow dress. And no, you will not marry David. You will marry somebody else with the same name. Tim laughed, how would she know which David it is? Are you kidding, Tim? I am not going to tell you who. That would kill the joke. And no, Ellie, punching my face will not help either. Ellie laughed. At least I know I would marry someday. Simultaman embraced Ellie. You are one of the luckiest people I know. You are also one of the kindest and most loving person I have ever met and I am privileged to be your friend. I did not include smart because you will just deny it. Thank you, Simi, that's very kind of you. But I still would like to punch your face. Simi laughed. Rabina was with Gray Fanny and Fanny. I cannot believe some of the feelings and thoughts were my doubles. She fooled around with one of the science officers in a different dimension. Gray Fanny explained, no silly, that's all a play they all did. I know what happened there. Like in a reality show, they acted something so when the episode is shown, it would be funnier and more entertaining. The Armada is becoming weirder and weirder. Fanny said. Gray Fanny continued, all its people are weird, in a way. You have no idea how the Norsets have become practical jokers and rap artists or how some of the Talonauts became drama queens or the Maccabees as stand-up comedians. All of the high-impact soldiers would assault our enemies as if they were all in a movie. And they are. It's a wonder how they can actually perform the things they needed to do. But they do them anyway. The Armada is full of practical jokes and reality acting, all the time. Sometimes, somebody would just overreact and that signals a tone of acting from the others. Normally they would respond and the drama unfolds. I guess, that's because they're bored. But I cannot imagine myself being idle and bored. Rabina commented. Scientists get bored too. The long adventures will bore you, believe me. Gray Fanny said. An older couple approached Sarah. Wait, I can feel you. Sarah said. Gray Sarah smiled, yes, this is Amos, my husband. You got married? Sarah asked surprised. Yes, and you will too. Wait, Amos, go over there and pretend we don't know each other. I want to give Sarah here a free hand. Sarah laughed and Gray Sarah held her hand. They stayed quiet and unmoving while staring blankly at each other. Roger could see almost half of his people had doubles. They held hands and were often laughing together if not quiet. Roger, this is Linda, my double. Linda said. Linda, I know she's Linda. She looks like you remember? This is so amazing. The two ran off holding each other's hand. Ellie made sure to be with her parents. Mom, how is it that I feel you are my mother and dad, my father? Same here, honey. Look, Peach, I feel you and when I embrace you, I smell you. Do you know whenever I embrace you with your hair touching my face, I do not get bothered with your hair? It's just like my hair touching my face and so I don't get itchy. But if it was your mother's hair, I instantly feel itchy. It's like your genes can sense my genes and they conclude they are the same. It's so amazing. And I come from another dimension. Elaine explained, we have met more than a dozen of our daughters and our doubles. The feeling is the same. Our doubles feel the same with the other Ellies. That is why all Ellies are addressed as Queen Ellie by David's people. A person wearing a white uniform approached Ellie and her parents. Honey, this is Tom. He is your ship AI. He's handsome. Did I choose him, Mom? It's a long story. Tom, why don't you tour Ellie around you? Ellie, would you like to tour me? Ellie looked at her parents, later. He held her dad's hand. The reception ended in a few hours with the council leaders, including Roden, Bynaton and Manpat leaving very early. Roger's group decided to tour their ships. Ellie was beamed to her bridge, welcome to your bridge, Ellie. Tom said. Ellie looked around and saw how plain the bridge is. There is no window around. The bridge had a curved leaning rails on both sides of the captain's chair and 3 sets of sofas and chairs at the back of the bridge. The floor was plain white that seemed to emit its own light, and the walls a tad darker shade of white, curving to an oblong dome recessed ceiling. All very plain and simple. It was so different from the Maccabee Bridge, with a lot of consoles and crew manning these consoles. Present a holo of the whole ship, Tom. Tell me about you. Several holos of the ship floated in front of her. I am the latest model in the Ellie class of science ships. Ellie thought, Ellie class? Yes, you have your own class. Rabina has her own class, as does Fanny. We only have the Rabina class, so Rabina will get her own class, but Fanny will have an Ellie class. What's the difference? Your class has more firepower, more than a regular Armada class ship, while Rabina's has more TPs and slightly longer because of the nose, which Rabina wanted curved like a bird's beak. Fanny's model comes with a small university but with a lot of drones. If you stay for a month, the Norsets can build one Fanny-class science ship so Fanny can have her own class of ship. No, we don't have that much time. How about Rebecca's? One Dimension has a Rebecca class, but not here. The Rebecca class is similar to yours with a lot of firepower but has slightly more number of labs. Tom, before I forget, remind the council to provide my Rebecca, Bill and Pierce their own science ships, all Ellie class. They already know, and in fact they also allotted 2 Andrew class and 3 Ellie class science ships for your Dimension VIPs. Roger requested to bring 3 Andrew class of ships for his Alan, Adam and Billy, 2 Ellie class for Rebecca and Louise, and 1 Rabina class. Wait, so there is no Roger class and Billy class? No, there is no Roger class, but One Dimension did plan to call a larger version of their dogs as Rogers. But several Rogers protested because they do not want Roger to be a dog's name, so there is no Roger class ship. The Maccabees have a Billy the Man class. And yes, Billy insisted on the name. Ellie laughed. I guess you know me too much. Come on, Tom, tour me around. They walked talking, and Tom got a body so he could hold things for Ellie. Several days later at Billy's mission room, several of his ship commanders and alien Armada leaders were there. Billy explained that their mission is to go into Roger's dimension first. Commander Tosuna was there to give a recap of his mission at the Norset galaxies that will extend towards the Intkis, then Marantais at Roger's dimension. Commander Ribani, a human, was there to explain his mission among the further human planets all the way to the Toms and Rayons. He would then go back, making an arc route towards the Runis and Lannis. He explained that it will take him almost a year to accomplish the task. Commander Wayne, a cowboy hat-wearing Talonot who was a big fan of John Wayne, a human action hero, gave a recap of his mission. He also had his outer body uniform designed with a pair of colorful cowboy boots complete with spurs. His task is to take care of the Talonot side of the galaxies and would meet up with Tosuna at the Bwofeng areas. Commander Jiran, a Maccabee from another dimension, explained that he will start with Ellie's dimension and expect to finish in 4 months. Within the first month of his operation, he will assign 50 ships to tow 1,000 of the largest of the enemy Maccabee ships to form the hop line from the Maccabee areas all the way to the Talonots. He explained that this task will take another 4 months. Tony stood and, as you all know, I would be setting up the hop system. Wayne and I will steal all the Tosban ships and lay them from the Talonot all the way to the Maccabees, passing through all the Armada species. I expect to deploy all the more than 30,000 Tosban ships in 6 months. Then Wayne and I will go to Billy's dimension, our dimension, to do the same and double the hop lines Jiran has laid out. We would also be outfitting all the Tosban ships with the quarterback TP system, since they are all very large and the Macs intend to expand their power systems. Billy stood and explained that their mission was to set up the Armada base at the Crimson planet, to take care of Adam's Armada and the nearby human planets. The Armada here have sent out several hundred probes from various points into the Talonot, Norset, Inki, human and Maccabee battle areas after confirming that the dimension was indeed Roger's. They will complete the communications network in another 10 days, just in time for our ships to DG in. They have also sent our probes into my dimension to get a lay of the land and form the communications network. After 5 days, at Billy's mission room, all of his commanders were in attendance. Listen up, people. I called this emergency meeting because the probes we sent to my dimension reported that 10,000 Maccabee ships will be engaging Adam's forces in 15 days. We have to move fast and head off the encounter. Roger said. I agree, and Joan sounded the alarm this morning so that all our people would be ready to go by tonight. As soon as I heard about the issue last night, I sent out 20 ships under Kirk to recon the area. Billy said. Joan was Billy's wife who died in the initial bombardment of Earth from space. Roger exclaimed, we were deploying earlier than planned, which is good. You could never tell what evil is growing out there as we speak. It may be growing its fangs and claws into various worlds right now. The darkness may be blanketing large segments of our galaxies with their depraved evil. Stop being overly dramatic, Roger. Ellie told Roger. The mission hall laughed. Rabina added, we are supposed to follow his lead, Ellie, and say something like, we should stand up with our mighty swords and fight the wizards of evil all the way to their lair. The mission hall burst out laughing and started talking to each other as Rabina suggested. Stop clowning around. This is a serious war planning meeting. Billy said. Linda summarized, Roger started it. Ellie followed through and Rabina laid out the action plans. I must say, Ellie, you diverted the play so people can catch on with Rabina's comment. They all laugh. Roger looked at his people and realized they have come a long way from the unit he started. Having gone through a long and major engagement with them, where they all could have died, made them very close, very much the Armada brothers and sisters he once had. Then he realized the problems brothers and sisters give each other, and this is exactly it. Roger, why all of a sudden you're so quiet? I hope I did not hurt your feelings. Ellie told Roger, who was standing beside her in front of the mission hall. No, Ellie, you have all made me feel very good. Oh no. Listen, guys. Quiet, listen up. She looked at Roger. Ellie, you're so mean. Okay, it was just over 2 months ago that I rounded up Ellie, Rabina, Rebecca, and Billy. While the commander group has started early on, our major engagement started just over a month ago. With the operation going on, we had to bring in the Armada members. We all went through hell, through an occasion when we all could have died. We were expecting to die, but we did not. And now I feel what I felt when I was part of the Armada before I got lost. The feeling is back. I feel like we are all brothers and sisters now, brothers and sisters in the fight. And I know you all have the same feeling with you, that we all went through the same trials and the same hell together. Although now with more alien beings with us. The feeling I had before has come back, and I know you all feel the same way. I also want to point out that as normal brothers and sisters, this is what we do. With Billy being a clown and with the Crimson amplifying this quality, we would be clowning brothers and sisters. This is good since we would fight less among ourselves, less than as brothers and sisters normally fight. The mission hall became quiet as if each one was feeling what Roger felt. Billy broke the silence. That's a good one, Roger. But I really like to punch your face right now for calling me a clown. The mission hall laughed. You are a clown, Billy. You even complained to me once that you can't stop clowning around. Linda whispered to Billy, who was beside her. Billy just smiled and whispered, don't tell anyone. Later that night,